As Caleris would like to say, going over to the green pastures. Our angle, we're going to be getting on this one. A pretty similar plane path. Going to be coming around on this one. It's going to be going from Severny up north all down to a military base. We had a military base on the first game of our angle. We'll have the back-to-back military base. I mean, I definitely would like to see a little bit of a switch up on that, but it might be happening.
I would like to see a southwest phase one circle, because I think that's one of the most common circles for these teams. One where like Gaka and Quarry is in the middle of the phase one, because I think that's kind of going to be very familiar for a lot of these teams, and it's going to allow them to maybe play a little bit more confidently on the rotation, on the position, and of course the late game team fights.
I'm waiting to see, are we going to have another early game Rozhog action that's been happening? I mean, earlier we had T1 in the first game that was doing a little bit of action over there, and they're going to be back over here, so we're going to have to see if they're going to be clashing with Valdez, as we are seeing those teams slowly making their way towards Rozhog. So hopefully you're not going to have too much early hot drop, because I'm actually surprised they're committing to that once again, knowing another team was there on game one.
Well, they say players can be really stubborn when it comes to drop spots that you don't want to give it over. That's a sign of weakness. But phase one is on the west of the map, but it's more central / northwest with George Paul right in the center. Now, of course, the teams that we aren't seeing in this last game today is Team Secret, Megastars, Reject, and Big E-Tron, but we will see back on our screens Udo, Morph, No Chance Team, and T1.
Yeah, T1 and Valdez. No, once again, going to be clashing, but hopefully they'll be able to respond to it in a more according fashion, not getting intertwined, not getting too close to each other, because that's what happened on the very first game. And unfortunately, some teams, especially around us esports, they taken down a few of their members very early. So hopefully here, they'll be able to take this fight a little bit more responsibly. But as I say that, I see a member of Valdez actually on the other side, over to the east of the area, so hopefully not get too bad. But Synergy, they're going to be in their rotation, just chilling in the open, but another team's going to be right in front of them, and that's going to be You Level Up, as a nice shot from Servi comes on through on a moving buggy like that. That's a very hard shot to nail down, really.
Yeah, and he says, you ain't leveling up this time, my friend. You're going to have an early bath on the last game. Go watch the rest of your team play. As you level up, you lose a player right off the bat. So we did see Udo gank on the side. Now they dropped in Severny. They're going to have a nice easy rotation into the circle. I'm going to say not that easy, because you've got a numerous amount of teams in George Pro, which is in the center of phase one. You've got Morph, you've got Nova Godlike, you've got, I believe also, no, I think it's just Morph and Nova Godlike.
I think that's also the case. We'll have to see as we try and pan over the camera over there, but right now we're going to be back on over as T1 still trying to apply some pressure. The Korean team playing very aggressive, because they know they're going to be happening exactly the same way. But as I said, look at that. The member of Valdez Esports is over to the eastern side, taking a few shots, especially on Seidan. So they're going to have to try and act accordingly and take out both the east and the west at the same time.
Yeah, it's a great flank position for Martin. Gets a lot of information. Of course, it could stop the roof play from the likes of Missile in T1's tracks and allow Valdez to take control, but Valdez, they are biding their time. Compared to game one, both these teams are currently in the circle. It might be the edge of it on the east, but it's still inside the circle compared to game one.
And also you've got some water up north and also on the west, so you can expect it to go a little bit more inland later on in the game. There it is, back on over to these two teams of Synergy and also You Level Up. So far in a little bit of a standoff in this building. Not quite ready to move, they're waiting as much as they can, you know, just chilling in the early game phases. Phase one, trying to hope that it's not going to go too bad, but Kumao is going to be slowly joining the party, making it 1v2, and now they want to use that man advantage to take down Servi of Synergy. As you heard it, Yurgzian going to be taking a fight of his own also in that compound. A member of Synergy's going to be coming around, and that's Ted. And now then we're going to make it an actual 2v2 engagement here. Kumao going to get shut down. Suvi doing some work despite being in a 1v2, and he will get shut down also. One-on-one trade-off so far in this game. Ted, you need to join the party right here, right now.
Come on, Synergy, get back into this game. As Ted has an Uzi in his hands. The rest of You Level Up are also coming in as well. This is going to be a little bit of a risky play. He gets backstabbed by Chazin, and that's going to be Synergy put down to just one player, I believe, as he's going to go in. Actually, no, make that two, my apologies. AwesomeBot X and Zigzaw. Can they Zigzaw away around this team fight against You Level Up as the door opens up, looking for the pixel. A grenade gets thrown out. It's going to get the knockdown on the Zigzor. Awesome bot, last player standing, but you level up, shut them down.
Unfortunately, the mistake from Synergy, they didn't make any decision. They wanted to engage, but at the same time, they weren't sure really how to do it. They didn't really have a game plan. The great grenade coming out from you level up did shut down that push, and at the end, they'll be taken out at the 15th slot. Now, back on over to Valdez, taking a fight versus T1. Molly's utility will be chucked, while still Martin just taking his time on the east and trying to get every single shot he might get, just to make him really T1 aware and giving them a little bit less scope to play around to take this fight versus Valdez. As here it is, Armjohn going to be pushing forward. He's going to be the leading man, going for the AK shots on Satan. Not quite able to get the knockdown just yet, but at least that's going to be putting pressure down onto T1. That allows him to get closer and closer to try and fully commit to this engagement.
You do still have Martin that has that angle, but the one thing for T1 is that they do have that player on the southern part of Rozhok across the road, providing a lot of information. Can ZZP make that count?
But one thing I'm seeing some Valdez so far is like they sent Martin back into Rozhok. They're trying to put a net all around the players. They're slowly trying to get from building to building so they can breach up on top of Satan or Missile. And also, I want to say, do you say missile or missile? Like,
missile.
Missile. I'm a French boy, so I like to say it like that sometimes.
Ooh la la.
Oui.
What's French for missile?
Missile.
Missile.
Missile, oui.
But as you see, Martin has a VSS. It's a silent but deadly weapon in the right hands. Can he make that count? I do think Valdez are trying to create that blanket, and they know that ZZP are there, so they are also looking to play around that Poseidon with the Scar gets a knockdown on the arm honing.
That's the issue around these areas of Rozhok. Every single building has some pretty big cross sections between those, and it makes it pretty hard to cross from building to building. So utility is the best way to do so, or taking suppressing fire, which there Valdez did not do, and that's going to cost him one player to get knocked. Not flush, but Armjohn will still be safe for the time being. As here it is, Missile is going to be shut down. T1 down to tier 2 players. That's going to be Satan and ZZP, and ZZP knows that the fight's going to break out. He knows he's not going to have any impact down south of Rozhok, so he needs to get nice and intertwined in this fight with Valdez. As here it is, they're going for the push. Armjohn, will they go for the rest before they will? Martin's going to go up there. He might need to calm down a little bit, Valdez, but they're going to send 2 members over to Satan first.
This is great 2-2 play by Valdez Esports as well. So they're controlling what was initially a knockdown onto Armhoney. They've been able to basically stay composed, stay together, and of course, keep the pressure onto T1. They both got their respective revives up. Martin throws out a smoke grenade. He's on the side of the building. His other 2 teammates are going to be engaging upon, but that's going to be JCZ knocked down.
That was a shotgun headshot right there. You do not survive that. And Satan absolutely destroyed him in a 1v2. T1 making it out on top as Satan is left alone in a nice 1v2 versus Valdez. Just going to come around. We didn't have time to res that. Martin, can he crack this one open? Going for the left side. Still got the shotgun. Satan, do you have an AR? That would be the better way to clutch this one through. But he knows he has to just run away back on the balcony. Will he jump down and get the surprise shot onto Martin? That's the question. But yeah, definitely with a clutch move on top of that with also a shotgun is not going to be easy for Satan.
I know Armone is low on health, but at the end of the day, when you look at it, this is a 1v2. This should be Valdez's to take and keep control of as the pre-fire shots are raging through from Martin. He has an Uzi. It's a fast fire, close range weapon, but the shotgun from Satan has done insane work for T1 so far. Can it close out this fight against Valdez?
Satan is so proactive. Oh, be careful. Goes around the corner, but is able to hide almost instantaneously, taking absolutely no damage. Gonna go for the spray. Hits one on top of JCZ, and now he's gonna go 2 more members. He does it, Satan, once again. Can he get the 1v4 clutch versus Valdez? He switches over to the AR, but no, it's way too short. And there you have it. Valdez will remain alive. That was the closest fight we had today.
Oh, with the shotgun!
He got 2 with 1 shot.
With the shotgun!
2 knockdowns with 1 shot. You don't see that often.
Okay, so what craziness, but we've seen phase 2 shift to the west, and this is harsh because it does occupy a good 40% of phase in water, which means there's less land mass available. You got the craziness of North George, South George, the crates that are pretty much in the center of this phase 2. This is going to be a little bit harder for the teams to deal with.
Wait a minute. When did TSM Entity join the pack? When did they get there? They heard the shot like, okay, you know what? We're just going to get a little bit involved. Maybe Valdez lost a few members, but we know that that's not the case. And they're going to be still as a 4-man team. And TSM Entity thinking about pushing down. Clutch God's going to be using that buggy. That means they give some noise. They do give the information away that Valdez is going to be a team up there. So now Valdez, they're definitely going to be very, very focalized on that northern section.
You see the replay right here, Satan just getting a double, triple knockdown, and it was so close, he nearly got it done. But the reload managed to come through, and Martin was able to keep his team alive. But now, the party isn't over yet for Valdez because they have TSM Entity who need a really strong performance to basically kickstart their PMWL East run. I know it's only the day of essential practice of seeding, but you still mentally want to end on a high note if you're TSM Entity.
Now going to go over to another team. That's going to be actually Morph. They got himself game number 3. That was on Miramar. And now they're going to be taking a fight versus RQ Athena. That's going to be in southern Georgepol, where the main habitable buildings are going to be into. G9 taking a few long-distance shots, potentially looking for information. They got No Mercy knocked away. They need to try and look for that flush. I mean, I don't think they even have to look for it. It might just bleed out to his death because he's in such a bad, sticky position. He can't make it out of the way from that position. And also the rest of his team can't pour assistance.
RQ have 24 kills in 3 games that they've played. That's an average of 8 kills per game. And as they look to add more against Morph team, they are taking control of South George, rotating and flanking and positioning themselves to a spot where they can just push back Morph team.
I can't believe they're able to get No Mercy back up there. Ransky, that was such a risky position. It was like going through the crossroads section. You don't usually do that without losing 1, 2, 3 members. He did that solo and pulled it off successfully. And now they've got 2 players actually involved with RRQ. Now they have to be careful of not only the teams ahead down south, but also the teams right next to them.
Now we have seen on the kill feed, TSM, they actually basically disengage away from Valdez because it is in Roshawk outside the circle. They've now rotated up towards the northeast, engaging onto Yudu. They got an initial knockdown onto Man Prang. Can they close this fight out?
Yudu so far getting pushed by TSM Entity. Ooh, Drax makes it barely out of range, but Clutch God will not get the knock onto that one. TSM Entity looking the strongest we've seen him today so far. The Jumper is going to be jumping on the opportunity to shut down Jonathan, and that's the man you want to get rid of on TSM Entity. Now Neo, Clutch God, Sea God, all going to push down, and oh man, they just don't want to commit. Yudu want to get the hell out of this fight. They're like, okay, that's Jonathan, that's TSM Entity. See you later, man.
They're basically saying, you do you, boo, and we'll disengage away. As Don knocked down nearly.
That was cool.
Oh my lord! Hey, look, I love that about Yudu, right? They're committing towards the late game. They're saying we don't want to fight now. We'll fight you later. The phase 3 shifts up north. You have North George in play. You have the fields of North George, which could be a bone of contention.
Man. Almost no teams are going to be in that circle. You're going to have to cross, like, this is one of the only times maybe where we actually will see the bridge of Georgepol being used, because that's an area that like, teams are like, well, why would he use it? He can just go around, you're pretty safe, but this time it might be a valid option. RRQ might actually go for that rotation, but Morph, they're still pinning them down south in Georgepol.
You have like 4 to 5 teams coming in from the south side. You have Box Gaming, RRQ, Morph, Team IND, you level up. Even No Chance team coming down from Everest can make a play. We're seeing team fight after team fight in the 13.5-minute mark of this game.
Don't see this happen very often, but Georgepol suffering of overpopulation, as now we have 12 teams still remaining. Morph team will bite the dust, eliminated in 13th position. Now, here it is, the fight also. Team IND, the first time we're going to see them pop over here in the feed. They're going to be fighting versus You Level Up, but You Level Up just a very split from each another, which in this rotation in the open areas, that's going to be really bad because Team IND, they're remaining as a squad, and they're going to push this as a squad. I mean, trying to push out a squad. Kratos going solo. That's a little bit ballsy in my opinion, but he's going to be there to try and gather information, try and make it up on the coastal line of southern Georgepol.
I'm a little bit surprised that RQ didn't take the chance to actually go across the bridge into North Georgia. They are sticking to the south side. They must feel confident that they can catch teams out rotating in from the south. But if it's okay, now they're making the push, now they're making a play across the bridge. They did send D2E over to scout, and now the rest of the team is coming across.
And You Level Up, they're going for the water play. Like, you know what? The bridge is already occupied. We've got our team on our tail. That's Team IND. Don't want to mess with them too much. So we're just going to be swimming our way and just go splash into the water.
In the Magikarp.
Use a splash, not very effective. Yeah.
Hey, look, could be very effective for them in this game, but the teams up and towards the north, like No Chance team, wore down on the southeast by Everest, have now shifted all the way up and towards the northeast, coming in through the fields. And honestly, I absolutely love that rotation for No Chance team. Incredible stuff. They're avoiding all the action.
I'm really scared for Team IND right now. They have that little bit of a terrain and this little bit of a slope that's actually working out for them. The pressure of Box Gaming is still staying at all-time high. And Phase 4, that's going to be the big deciding factor. We'll have to see. It's potentially going to go up north because you know that it likes to go and shift away from the water at this stage of the game in competitive settings. So really all the teams down south, they know that the future's not very bright for them.
There's a slogan for a phone company in England called "The Future's Bright, the Future's Orange." It could be a bright future for Orange Rock as they are in North George. But as Box Gaming hold on to the south tip, the next circle shifts up and it goes northeast with the buildings of North George in play. Honestly, I feel like this is a worse circle compared to Game 1 in Erangel. This is crazy.
I mean, are we going to have like a back-to-back city finish? Like we have Paradise Resort. Now we're going over to a Northern George Pole finish here. Potentially, I mean, you could still go elsewhere, but that is absolutely insane. Steel's getting pressured down by Box Gaming. Box Gaming got the nice high ground, but you know what, Celts, they're like, you know what, we're going to try and rotate from the eastern side, but that's still going to be risky. You've got no bridges. You're going to have to go through the water. And a few teams, especially Udu, they're going to be on the receiving end of this engagement.
Now, we have seen up on towards the north part of the circle, TSMND did lose one player at the hands of King of Gamers. Now they lost another player at the hands of No Chance Team. As Neo is forward on the edge of the circle, No Chance Team are making the push. They can hold on to the edge of North George, but as Box Gaming making their way across the bridge, this is risky. They might have to stop halfway, do a little bit of scouting, get a bit of information and see where they can go from there as Choco Nodex gets knocked, gets confirmed at the hands of TSM.
Well, staying on the bridge here might be actually the better option right now. Just play passive.
Really?
Team's still going to be behind you, but you know what? I think it's okay because there's no one behind them anymore. They're just going to focus on RRQ Athena, and they also focus on the teams currently in Northern George Pole, so there's a lot of action. People are not really going to be caring too much about Box Gaming, in my opinion, at least, so we'll have to see. But Orange Rock, the team you were talking about Imperium, they're pretty central. They've got a pretty decent building under control for themselves, but now, you know, City Finishes is very in the open as to who might take that game.
Because of these harsh circle shifts, we are in a situation where we're at the 17-minute mark, and we are down to 12 teams and 38 players. So in theory, even though it's a little bit of a crazy situation, because there's less bodies in the lobby, there's in theory more land available for the remaining players and teams. Just something to think about. Either way, it's not going to be easy as a tanky gets a knockdown on the concept and Break knocks down 420 OP.
Yeah, I remember casting a few months ago a circle that ended exactly in Northern George Pole, and I can say that it gets absolutely insane. The fights just keep on going left, right, and center. If you guys know a little bit more things about casting, play-by-play casting is going to be coming out every single time in the next few minutes.
We saw it in the script in game either Games with Borders or the scrims.
Finals of the that was Middle East, MENA region. Okay. That was the one we checked it out. But Team IND, you know what? They were trying to be on the tail of U Level Up. But U Level Up already made it over to the high ground up north of George Pole. Team IND now, if he gets scouted, oh, he saw his head there peeking out for some oxygen. But now breathing is illegal for Team IND, as if you go up, you might just get shut down by Loki. And that's why I like on the bridge too, you're shutting down all the potential teams in the water.
But now Box Gaming have to contend with RRQ. They were able to trade a knock. Nice by G9 to be at the forefront of that bridge because RRQ still have players up as Haystern confirms and steals that kill away from Box Gaming. So they're definitely looking over at another angle on the southeast edge of the circle as the blue zone is closing in. We have still 12 teams up, Max.
And RRQ Athena still trying to get some knockdowns to Box. They're really going to struggle. And Team IND, I like what they're doing there. They're trying to get himself under the bridge so they can't get really shut down by Box Gaming currently on the bridge. So it's definitely a way to try and relieve some pressure. But here it is. Circle shift back up north. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. It doesn't want to try and shift away from the circle in the later stage. But now it's going to be 100% city finish in Northern George Pole.
And the team that I was going to mention as well, and it's favored even more, is King of Gamers on the north edge of North George. But as RRQ, D2E with the mini sprays on the Box Gaming, who did stay on the bridge, are going to be so heavily compromised. The only thing they have in their favor is in some way, shape, or form, RQ and Nova Godlike clash together.
I mean, the thing is right with Box is that they were fine in the early stage, but now that we know 100% that they're not going to be in the next circle, they have to jump out. And they're going to be in the same kind of level as now Team IND. So let's see which team will make it first to the coastline, and the first team to make it there will deny the other team in the water.
It's going to be the end of Kratos at the hands of Team IND.
Oh no.
As D2E indeed gets knocked by Nova God. Like, this is the kind of situation that could favor Box Gaming as Orange Rock joins in on the fun as well.
Orange Rock coming into this game is also 3 players in the lobby. They lost Jill, but still, they are got a great position under control and did not quite on the edge there. I think that the teams a little bit high up north on the edge have a better potentially taking that game. That's going to be No Chance Team, King of Gamers Club, also Valdez, and also TSM Entity that are currently up north, just chilling.
So 2 members of Box have been able to just about get themselves on the beachside area of North George, but they are far from in a safe position if they can just crawl their way up, stick by the edge of the road, peek and get a tiny bit of information as Pinay is trying to hold on. But you can see Haster looking for the peeking head on Pinay in the water.
Comes back to what I said earlier, breathing is illegal when you're in water, otherwise it's going to give your position away pretty damn quickly. But now, unfortunately, there's not a few areas actually you can make it back into the city from there, so hopefully they can find that little sweet spot where not too many teams are paying attention and make it actually over onto the mainland. But Nova Godlike, they're still keeping the pressure high, and they do not want to allow any teams to make it through the water section.
So pretty much every single team in the game has gotten some kind of position inside the circle. So this is a little bit of a calm before the storm. And the teams that are looking strongest in my eyes is No Chance Team, King of Gamers, and Valdez. So let's see where the next phase goes.
I don't think Box can actually find a way up. I think that, like, we'll have to see, actually. They might have an easy way up there on the rock, but it's definitely going to be intriguing, because if that's not the case, they're going to be in the blue zone very soon. They'll have to tank it, and it's a very late game stage circle, so they will not be able to hold it. I think that maybe where Breakers localized is like a sweet spot where you might be able to just crawl their way up there. But even if they do, they got to cross a road too, and they got a building with good high ground position available for both Nova Godlike and RRQ Athena. I don't think that's going to go well, but Team IND get eliminated in 12th position.
Yeah, Snacks was the last player standing. Now he's just going to be eaten and taken out of the lobby. Nice little sweet snack for Box Gaming as a play zone does knockdown break. That's going to be pretty much the end of Box Gaming. Down they go. 10 teams, 29 players in the circle. Centers up into North George. This is going to be building craziness. This is going to be 3rd, 4th, 5th party. Incredible play. I don't even know who's going to come out on top.
Release the hounds. All the teams are now going to try and get themselves center circle. You got a few smokes. The teams that kept onto that utility, they're going to have a huge advantage into this one. But you got a big, thick road. Going to be dead center right there. Crossing over that section up north or down south is going to be a big issue, but it is now. Seltz knocking on the door of Nova Godlike. Nova Godlike be like, okay, we're going to give that building away. We're going to try and move a little bit closer to the center of the circle. But they're actually getting shut down pretty heavily. Smaxy going to also get knocked down. And so, well, Vampire shut down actually by Seltz on the back end.
They were already in the circle. I don't get why they rotated to a different position, because you are going to get third party. We've seen 2 members get locked down by Nova from Nova Godlike. They have been able to get one revived up. I believe they will be able to keep going. Yes, they are closer towards the center circle, but at what cost? As Rocks is going to get the knockdown on the D2E. He's now on a sliver of health. Reloads a gun. He's going to prone himself down. Going to look for the drop shot. Maybe be able to actually get the med kit off. What the hell? As the rest of his team bounces around, takes down RRQ and Seltz. Galaxy Racer Seltz, show them how it's done.
RRQ Athena trying to give back a little bit of their own medicine over to Seltz of what they dashed over to Nova Godlike, but unfortunately with not too much of an amount of success, and they'll be taken out in 10th position. Now we're finally down to 1-digit team count, and it's going to be Nova Godlike still holding their position, but now they know for a fact that there's going to be one team knocking on their back door, and they're going to try and avoid getting any really extra knockdowns on their side. But now Yudu, they're coming from the right side. Valdez, they're still also on the eastern side, and the circle is going straight on top of that road.
All I'm going to say is mini red zone, Max. Mini red zone with the amount of grenades that are going to start flying if they haven't already started flying. King and Gamers are inside the circle on basically the northeast center tip. But, of course, if that road is still in play, it's going to be so hard for these teams to move around. TSM Entity holding on to the north part outside of Nova, I might say, as well. But they are on top of the hill overlooking the other teams.
I mean, now, yeah, TSM Entity, they've been the vultures. They're just, like, looking, gathering information. If they can get a few kills along the way, they'll go for it, of course. But right now, what they're going for is mainly gathering information. Kills is not their main priority. Now, grenade from Fredo. Will that connect? I mean, City's on a pretty good path. But I don't think it will get much done, unfortunately. Yeah, not going to be detonating in time, and that will not be a knockdown. But still now, we're going to be seeing Phase 7 about to knock up and come up in 3, 2, 1. Up north, TSM Entity! them lads, they have like the perfect circle for them right now.
Oh boy, that's why I say always stay on the edge of a city, because it is unlikely that it stays in that direction as Rox dancing around, dodging everything, hearing everything that's going on, leading the rest of his team as you do gang, trying to get the revives off. Friedel is prone down, hoping he doesn't get spotted, but the Tanky are just driving his way through from Celts.
Just shutting down absolutely everyone. Galaxy, Racer, Celts. Absolutely shredding the competition down south on the eastern side. They got Nova Godlike in a little bit of a bad spot. Same also for Yudu. And now they're going to be trying to crack this one open more and more. They're going for the high ground push a little bit. That's going to be Valdez trying to get that position away from potentially TSM Entity. But TSM Entity, they say big no, but still they have one member knocked away. They were a two-man team earlier. And as I say that, unfortunately, going to be losing two teams. Nova Godlike goes out in 8th position. And unfortunately, TSM Entity will be following suit and get eliminated in 8th position.
Valdez Esports moving onto the hill on the eastern side, but they are outside the circle. No chance team. Lost Choco X earlier on. Off Dells is knocked down. They do still have Heineken and the other player of their team up as you level up. Q-Mao and Huzan. You do dang go down.
Oh, them grenades, Goddess. That was absolutely on point from no chance. Now they've got to keep on going. Heineken. Try to install that utility, you know, on the edge of George Paul, which is what we were talking about earlier. That is definitely the position you want to try and play around, because you can keep pressure and information on teams out of the circle, and currently also teams are currently in the building. But it is now Valdez. They took the position of TSM Entity. They didn't have the advantage for them. That's go uphill. That was a huge win for them, and that might actually just score them the win.
Exactly. It's just going to give them so much freedom as they knock down member after member of Galaxy Racer Cell. Rox is inside the smoke, trying to hold on, but MJ is also doing his best to save off the pressure, and King of Gamers are also still in the mix.
At least they have time. Martin, despite being knocked away, they got a nice spot to go for. They can easily pull off that res. Orange Rock will get taken out now. Down to finally top 5 on this game. Imperium, the circle is still going to be closing up. Phase 8 is going to be on our radars pretty damn soon. The smokes are buying a lot of time for Sales to pull off the res, but unfortunately, as I say that res is actually going to be shut down and leaving Rox as a one-man army. They're keeping the pressure down. Him one, looking for second. The spray of Goddard will confirm 2 kills. They see the last one, and there you go. Celts going to bite the dust, eliminated in 5th position.
But they did end the game with 11 kills, so it's a worthwhile game for them, perking the points up as we get into the final 4. No chance. King of Gamers, you level up, and Valdez, as Phase 8 has gone up north. King of Gamers are just on the southern tip of the circle inside that building.
I actually like this circle quite a bit. It's going to be taking the high ground away. It's going to be taking the buildings away. It's going to make things a little bit more even. Stevens, anybody can really take this game if they do try and take it under control, which you like to see. But Heineken is going to be now the last remaining member, still up on his feet. As here it is. Valdez, they just know that they got to go down. Valdez, the murder, going to try their best to take control on this one. King of Gamers Club, they got to hold on to it. But unfortunately, that building, you can't look uphill from that segment. They can't do anything against that push of Valdez.
But it was a great play by Valdez, along with the help of You Level Up, was able to take down No Chance Team, creating a tiny bit more space as they go on the edge of the building. We're down to the last 3 teams, 7 players up, 3v1 of the 3 remaining teams. Can King of Gamers rise to become the kings of the last game in a wrangle?
I don't want to shut out, you know, Hyugzan for You Level Up just yet, because he could still just go for third party. It comes back to what we had earlier a little bit on Miramar. It comes down to a Mexican standoff, and the team that fights last could take the win. And if it's Hyugzan that goes for the fight last, he could take the win. But seems like he's going to go for Battlefields just yet, trying to really secure that 2nd position. But dies to the blue zone, unfortunately. Yeah. And there you have it now. It's going to be down to 2 teams. It's going to be or Valdez the Murder, or it's going to be King of Gamers Club Imperium.
3v3. Can Valdez close out the day with the chicken dinner, or will King of Gamers shut them down? The King of Gamers inside the building. Valdez circling the side of the building. Martin and Goddard flanks their way through on the side. Goddard starts things off by getting a knockdown. Oops goes down to Braga with the M249. Gets a knockdown, but now as Martin goes on the side of the building, very little help from Braga. Can he close it out? Can he continue on? No, it's not. And Valdez, the murderer,